And do you want me to you get on and I don't. What addresses I get? What addresses I get allowed to?
I've got one, I'm gonna sit around.
Your room was just charged
Yeah, but I mean, some of those people like here, but
Yeah.
it didn't even ask for a name.
Oh, yeah, I put it.
Oh, yeah.
No, I couldn't get it.
Who's on the way here yesterday? Plenty of time to read that.
Maybe if you have.
I'll give you a Brian the Tucson glossaries. You can put it around somewhere. Yeah, Frank printed them on glossy. And I'll give you the whole levels.
What's it titled?
All right, I convene this Board of Directors meeting of the International Gay Rodeo Association. Call it to order. I would like to first say hello and welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us for this first event of our new 2016 rodeo year. Looking forward to a great and productive year. We're going to see if we can find a few more chairs for those of you who are guests visiting in the meeting today. And also welcome to all of you who are guests viewing from your homes. We're glad that you've taken time to join us and see what your Board of Directors is doing in your name. I would like to welcome some particular new people or people who are in new positions for this rodeo year. Absent today but in a new position is our new Vice President, Jason Bernard. We're glad to have him as a member of the board. Unfortunately, Jason has some personal medical concerns that he's dealing with this weekend and not able to join us. I'd also like to welcome our once and future Secretary, Ron Presley, who is our new Secretary now. In a new position, but a returning board member, Division 2, Vice Chair Rob Summers. You can clap. We have several new trustees with us, and I'm going to list them all, whether they're here or not. From AGRA, Bob Pimentel. CGRA, Roger Japp. DSRA, Lisa Smith, who was just getting in and settled. There you are, Lisa. From KSGRA, not present with us today, Jim Gallucci. And TGRA, who is on his way from the airport, I believe, Terry Covington. So those are new members of our Board of Trustees. We have two alternates sitting in for their associations today from GSGRA, Chuck Dial, and from OGRA, Liza McDonough. So welcome and thank you for participating on behalf of your associations.
That's Liza with a Z, Liz?
Yeah. Did I say Liza?
I was just waiting for some. She's
All
waiting
right.
for some smart aleck to say.
All right. Leave it to me. Thank you. Well, you see, I told you. Sorry about that. Ron, if you'd like to go ahead with the roll call. We are passing around the roll call sheet. Please sign in the appropriate place for trustees. Yes, there's a page at the back for you as well. Please sign in with your association name. Ron?
Okay. Bruce Grove.
Here.
Jason Bernard. Ron Trusley. David Hill. Here. Bob Pimentel. Here. Rob Summers.
Here.
Tom Lott.
Here.
Roger Japp.
Here.
Lisa Smith.
Here.
Alan Thomas. Barbara Bug.
Here.
Truck Dial.
Here.
Joy Dead. DCO. Jim Gallucci. Daryl Sexton. David Hallwood. Kenneth Hall. Beth Gleason.
Here.
Brian Heatlander.
Here.
Gene Frakes.
Here.
Liz McDonald.
Here.
Candy Pratt. Merlin Jackson.
Here.
Chuck Browning.
Here.
Terry Covington.
Thank you, Ron. We will now turn our attention to adoption of rules of debate. Is there a motion?
So moved.
What is it you're so moving, please?
10 minutes.
Adoption, 10 minutes for maximum discussion before it has to be put back for a vote.
Thank you. The motion is to adopt rules of debate limiting discussion to 10 minutes without further action. Is there any second? I think I heard. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor of the motion to adopt the rules of debate say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. motion passes, the rules of debate are adopted. We have now before us consideration of the previous minutes of St. Petersburg, November 12th, prior to convention, and St. Petersburg, November 15th, following convention. Is there a motion? I have heard a motion to approve the minutes of those meetings. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? None appearing, all in favor to approve the minutes of November 12th and November 15th, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. The motion passes, the minutes are approved. I have been reminded to please silence your cell phones and other devices so that they vibrate rather than chime or whatever for us. All right. We'll now move to my report for this session. I called your attention that I've made a number of appointments as required or outlined in the bylaws. In particular, I would like to announce to you the appointment of the members of the Hall of Fame Committee. The chair of that committee, I thought I silenced that already. Yeah, well, that's The chair of the Hall of Fame Committee for this year is Amy Griffin. Joining her as members of the committee from Red River, Tandy Pratt. From CGRA, Michael Gruman. Those will be new members of the committee. Remaining on the committee from prior years, Roger Bergman, the former chair, and from NSGRA, Carl Stanger. You see on your agenda the names of the additional chairs of committees or subcommittees whom I have appointed for this year. In addition to those that you see listed, I called your attention that joining Randy Edlin for Association's president is Sandy Bidwell. I do have some areas where I'm still working to make appointments. In particular, we're looking at how best to manage the marketing sponsorship committee. It has been suggested, though it's not yet been made part of our rules, that we break out those responsibilities because we always have difficulty finding somebody who has the requisite skills to do all of that. So I'm already in contact with a couple of individuals who are talking about taking a piece of that, one of whom would be then appointed the chair, and we'll try to assemble a committee around them. We also have some interest in areas having to do with the internet technology stuff that we need to do. That's a key area that we need to develop because we have some organizational needs on the back end side of our contestant program where we need to do some development. So I do need to attract capable persons for that. Got some people that I'm talking to, but nobody yet who is offering the leadership role that we need, for what we need to do, or who might yet talk about with that. I want to discuss and remind all of us about our various roles as members of the board of directors of IGRA. A reminder that trustees in particular have multiple layers of responsibility. You are, first and foremost, you have a position in your local association, presumably on the board of directors, as the trustee for IGRA in your local association. When sitting in that board of directors, you have an obligation of a certain type within your organization when you're at home with your board of directors. As a trustee, you have a function within IGRA regarding administration and oversight of the rodeo program and enforcing of the rules and concerns for safety and things of that nature, and granting variances, making sure that our rodeo program has its integrity intact. That's the function of the Board of Trustees, independent of anything else that we might do elsewhere in the organization. But when we sit as the Board of Directors of IGRA, we function then as the governing body and the business arm administering the work of the International Gay Rodeo Association. And I remind you that you have a fiduciary responsibility under the law to put the interests of the IGRA Association first and foremost when we sit as this board of directors. You are a representative of your local association. You clearly want to bring to our attention the concerns that you have locally that might impact us, because as an association, we have an obligation to look out for all of our associations together. But I remind you that when we sit as a board of directors, your master, so to speak, is IGRA. That is the only one we serve when we sit as a board of directors. I hope, without overstating the case, that we all understand that and can separate the variety of responsibilities we have at different moments. One of the great things that's going to be facing us this year is a concern for specifically what we're going to do for World Gay Rodeo Finals 2017 and beyond. And then the broader picture of how that's going to look either in the short term or if we're thinking long term. What are we going to do? How are we going to structure World Gay Rodeo Finals in the future? As you know, we have some challenges with the availability of South Point for 2017 and beyond, and we're looking at different options. The committee is already engaged in that work. They have established for us a timeline where they're going to try to produce some meaningful information for us by our May board meeting, and then we're going to hope to be prepared to make a decision about 2017 no later than our July board meeting. As far as what happens beyond that, part of that will be what we discuss and discover among ourselves and in our local associations. But we are at a point where some challenges to our existing thinking about that program might come forward. We may have to think about different ways we want to do this particular program and ways it might impact our overall program in the future. I don't know yet, what that might look like, and whether we're going to be willing and interested in making, broad changes, or whether we're going to try to look at more focused changes specifically for 17, 18, and such like that. But I just want to put you on notice, this is a big looming concern, a big issue that we're going to be asked to deal with together in the course of this year. I want to express to you today, Bruce Roby is not with us because he is at the memorial service for Jabby Lowe, formerly this board of directors, as our corporate auditor. Our hearts and thoughts, of course, go out to Jabby's family at this time when they remember and memorialize him. And I'm very grateful that Bruce is able to be there as a face and spokesman for IGRA when we're otherwise conducted in our business here. I want you to know that Jabby thought... Well, we're delighted to know that. That Jabby thought about and made provision for IGRA, and he, in his estate, provided for a gift of, I believe it was $5,000? $8,600. A gift of $8,600 cash to IGRA in his estate, which has already been paid out to us. That is a wonderful gift, and one that we are very grateful to receive, and we'll do our very best to spend and use wisely for the benefit of our association with memory of Jabby tonight. But I want you all to know that, first and foremost. And I also want to call it up as an example as we develop further as an organization of things that some of us who have the means might want to do in the future, and the opportunity for us to reach out to other people who might also wish to do that in the future as well. We adopted quite a number of things at convention in the way of new programs, new opportunities that can be a little bit confusing. We're going to have to learn through them together over the course of this year, but I do encourage and challenge our local associations, number one, to learn and understand them, and number two, to embrace and utilize them. In particular, the ones that have come out of our new member recruitment committee having to do with World Gay Rodeo Finals prize money. It's very simple. Your association raises $500 for that purpose. IGRA will match it with a gift of $250, so the $750 goes to the prize pool for World Gay Rodeo Finals. Every association has the opportunity to do that. That will raise for us, when it's over $7,500, added prize money for our contestants for World Gay Rodeo Finals. Let's get on that. I know some of the associations are already making plans and are excited to do that. But I just want you all to know that it's an opportunity each association has to support your contestants and our World Gay Rodeo Finals. Similarly, you have the exact same opportunity on a local association level, for a local rodeo level, for a regional rodeo. Whether you are a rodeo producing association or not, when you raise $500, IGRA will match it with $750. Your association then designates which of our rodeos, regional rodeos, it should go to. You produce it and you want to use it at your own, that's great. But if you are not producing this year and you all tend to go to a particular rodeo and you want to pool together your money there, that's what we encourage you to do. Again, to put more prize money in the field to support our contestants at regional rodeos this year. That can put over $7,500 in our regional rodeos. David?
You said, the association puts in 500 and IGRA puts in 750?
I meant to say 250, thank you, David.
Okay.
IGRA puts in 250.
I already wrote it
I revise and extend my comments. So yes, so that there's a total of 750 combined to go to that particular rodeo. All right, thank you, David. He didn't want to write those bigger checks yet. Maybe it's something we can aspire to in the future. Does everybody have a basic understanding of those two programs? They're the same operation, just for different purposes. The other opportunity is we've designated $500 to associations in each division that we're willing to provide to support rodeo schools. They don't have to be associated with a rodeo, they can be independent. In fact, personally, I encourage that some associations do it with and some associations don't. But I, again, encourage you to look within your division, whatever you have to do to work it out together, but let's get those rodeo schools out there, because we know when we have rodeo schools, we attract new competitors. New competitors tend to compete at the rodeos about 50% or so at the rodeos that they are trained at, and they retain about 25% of those initial contestants with second year. That's a sign and an opportunity for our growth. So please, if you've not already planned a rodeo school, if you've not thought about it, get together with your peers in your division and see how we can make this work. And the final thing, and the hardest one of all, is the progressive prize pool for Rough Start. Simply put, let's put it into play. Let's actually put it in the field, start working with it this year. We'll understand it better once that happens and we see it in action. The key thing is, if you are a rodeo producing association, IGRA is challenging you to raise $750 locally, that IGRA will match with $750 to go into this prize pool specifically for Rough Start, to be divided men, women, Saturday, Sunday, bulls, broncs, steers. Now, I mentioned broncs. We can't give out the money if you all are not offering broncs. We can't get bronc riders if we're not advertising and attracting them and training them and supporting them. Let's give our best shot at developing our rough stock over the next couple of years, because that's our weakest part of our rodeo program. All right? So please, if you're a rodeo producing association, consider offering broncs. If you're offering a rodeo school, consider training in broncs. If you have an opportunity to reach out in your community to find people who may be interested in gaining this skill and learning this discipline, let's do it. Robert, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was there again or not, but you said that was a 750, 750 match?
750, 750, that's right.
So that's the only one that is different than the other two?
Right, right.
Alright.
And the key thing is what's not awarded rolls to the next rodeo who decides to participate, okay? The idea is that we're gonna build up a sizable sum of money over time. All right?
But only if you provide bronc.
No, we've not yet established a string on that. But you know, there'll be no money for broncs if you're not offering it.
Oh, okay, all right, I misunderstood that.
This board has the opportunity to say, yes, you have to do broncs, but so far we've not done that.
Okay.
And as much as I want us to concentrate on that too, I'm not sure I want to short the other two by not doing that. That's not my choice though. Good observation, Chuck.
I had one more.
Yes, Robert?
So the 750, 750 match
Yes?
is only for participating rodeos. Does that roll to finals?
That depends, is
that
finals
is that a
participate?
participating rodeo, I guess?
Yes, absolutely. Finals is envisioned to be one of them too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
mean, we just have to find the 750.
We're just
but-
trying to figure out how to market and promote it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, and thank you. The key thing about that is this is something we're going to be doing collaboratively, kind of a little out of our practice, a little out of our wheelhouse, our comfort zone. So we're going to need to look at ways that we agree among ourselves how we're going to have certain minimum standards that we all abide to participate, and how we're going to support our sponsors and the programs locally, and what IGRA is going to do, what the local association is going to agree to do in order to all do this together. Now, nobody's forced to do it. All are encouraged. Bob? I thought you were waving for attention.
Oh, no.
Okay, all right. These various programs and others that we've not yet devised and begun are our avenue for future growth in our contestant pool and in our rodeo program. They are a combined vision that together will help move us forward. And as time goes by, some will work better for us, some will work less for us. We'll modify them, we'll abandon them, we'll replace them, we'll augment them with new ideas as time goes by. But this is our starting point and our area of focus for this coming year. Please take the opportunity, embrace it, let's work together and see what we can accomplish when we put our efforts and collective minds together to solve this challenge before our association. That is my report for you at this time. Are there any questions regarding my report? Very well, we'll move to the report of our Vice President. I can call up the right one here. It was emailed to all of you. It is the report. He has attached for us a spreadsheet of the plans of the royalty, the tentative plans for where and when they intend to visit. I'll let you review that on your own. He calls to our attention that Mr. IGRA Thomas McCarthy, who is present with us today, and Terry Covington, Mr. IGRA first runner-up, have already started their fundraising for the year. The team all have dates booked, and we will get those notices out as soon as they are event ready. He's happy to say that as Vice President, he has already raised a total of $715 to go toward expenses for this IGRA University. So we're very grateful, Jason, for your efforts and leadership in that regard. He has another fundraiser himself on February 21 to benefit horse contestants at WJRF in Las Vegas, and he would like to personally challenge each board member to produce a fundraiser to help IGRA with its sponsored events. I'll repeat that phrase again. He challenges each board member to produce a fundraiser to help IGRA with its sponsored events. The 2016 team will be meeting to go over personal goals as well as team goals at university. There are action items brought by the Vice President. The team has chosen 3 local charities for our approval this year. They are Other Options, Health Services of North Texas, and Miles of Smiles Foundation. We will ask the team to address that before we get to a point of the vote. That is the report of our Vice President. I will ask representatives of the royalty team if any of you wish to speak to the choice of Other Options.
I'm going to defer that to Liz.
Yes, I will.
Thank you, Liz.
First of all, has anyone ever heard of Other Options before, so you kind of know basically what it is? It's an organization based in Oklahoma City. It was started many years ago with the advent of the huge outbreak of AIDS and HIV by Miss Arbuckle, who was a social worker. And she saw that there was no provision made for people and their families. They were bereft with no health care, with no food, with no clothing, often with no shelter, and she got angry. She got angry a lot, I guess. So she started a food bank, first of all. That food bank has now grown and is administrated by her daughter, Mary Arbuckle, who is also a competitor in rodeo. They now provide, I have information for you all to look over, but they provide up to 1,800 adult clients, 1,700 children every year. They provide food that can be delivered or picked up. They actually have like a supermarket area where you walk in and you actually go around and do shopping, and you can check out food for the week. This Thanksgiving, we supplied 700 meals for 250 families. At Christmas time, we provided 1,800 gifts, wrapped gifts for children and for their families. There is a housing program which helps people get safe housing. There is a drug program which helps people dispose of old drugs and helps them get into the new regimens. There's a clothing bank also which can help people out with clothing. So that's the rough outline. It's not just in Oklahoma City, it's pretty much the whole of Oklahoma. And Mary is very committed to this program and would actually like to see it grow out as well. And it is specifically still for people with HIV/AIDS and their families.
Thank you, Liz. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak from the royalty team about Health Services of North Texas?
Yes, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So Health Services of North Texas, I'll kind of give you just a short version. They provide medical care to all, regardless of ability to pay. The focus is to ensure that people with low income and no insurance have access to health care. Also, they use discount fees, they use a sliding scale, so if there's anybody just over poverty level, they basically get a 95% discount on their health care and off their fees. They also provide numerous support services like mental health care, case management, assistance with medications, and also provide medical and support services to people living with HIV. That's the heart of their mission, but they also serve the whole family. So the whole family gets health care, not just the patients. They've served about 8,500 people this year already. And they take insurance, Medicaid, things like that, but they also provide it, again, to people who don't have those. We also have several rodeo competitors that are part of that organization as well. They come out, they support. They're part of IGRA, and so we kind of would like to support that service as well.
Thank you, Mary. And one of you to speak on Miles of Smiles Foundation?
Yes. Miles of Smiles Foundation is for the war veterans. It is in South Florida. It's an equine-assisted psychotherapy and an equine-assisted learning program for veterans from Iraq and enduring freedom veterans suffering with post-traumatic stress disorder. There's no charge for the veterans in the program. According to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, 20% of Iraq and Afghanistan war veterans suffer from post-traumatic syndrome. Some 68,000 veterans live in Lee County alone, and the number expected to increase as more soldiers return from the coming years. With long wait times for appointments with the VA, finding a necessary psychiatric help for those challenged for many. Keith and Gail Doxey opened Miles Ranch in North Fort Myers on Veterans Day 2013. The only facility with a full-time licensed mental health therapist. There's no charge for the veterans or their families to come. The therapy itself involves doing exercises with the horses, perhaps building certain obstacles, things they want to get around, go over, get through, and it will be a metaphor for what they're expecting in life. Equine-assisted psychotherapy brings some things to the surface that remind them of their Iraq and Afghanistan experiences, and it's a breaking moment. And there's a bunch of certified stuff I got on the people that own it.
You have the recommendation of our Vice President that we approve the selection by the royalty team of Other Options, Health Services of North Texas, and Miles of Smiles Foundation as their charities for 2016. There being the recommendation on the floor, is there any discussion? No discussion appearing. All in favor of giving approval to those selections of Other Options, Health Services of North Texas, and Miles of Smiles Foundation, say aye.
Aye.
Those approved say nay. Motion passes. The selections are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know, your fundraising as royalty team members on behalf of IGRA means a lot to us. And in that regard, we often leave you out front as our representatives for this, but I remind you, and I remind all of us, that this is a team effort that we're all engaged in, and that we need to know who these three charities we have approved are, and we need to be actively engaged with our royalty team in supporting and fundraising for them. Brian Rogers presented for us at the opening last night some retrospective information that we've been trying to compile for some time. Many of you are engaged with him in trying to research and verify our fundraising efforts of the past. This is a bit of a challenge for us, and we're going to improve this information as time goes by. But right now, today, sitting here together, I want you to know that our member associations, our royalty teams, and IGRA itself have raised over $4 million for charities in our history. That's something we all need to know and we need to talk about. And I congratulate you for that. Anybody have any questions regarding the Vice President's report or comments before we move on? we'll move into our secretary, Mr. Presley.
Okay, first, just, I guess an apology that I sent emails this morning from reports I just gotten, but we'll be working to get everything straightened out with Yahoo groups and make sure everybody's in there instead of sending the emails like I did. Hopefully you got them, but if not, we have, some I'd said before, you have those reports. The ones I just sent this morning, we can bring up on the report screen later when we get to those if we need to. Reminder for all associations, Standing Rule 9, membership lists and cards. Membership lists are still coming in that are not in the proper format. A lot of them are not. One thing that I've observed is, especially when the names, the members' names are not alphabetical by last name, it's really difficult for us to look for those at rodeos, to find the members' names quickly, to verify membership. And there's seven items listed that are required. One is optional. For example, association name at the top of each page, date of membership list, names of all active members in alphabetical order by last name, first name, city and state or province where each member resides, county or other appropriate geographical unit of residence for each member where such units are identified as part of an association's geographical area. For example, Arizona, we have the 2 associations, so we need to list the counties to make sure we're in the right county. Page number, including total number of pages at the bottom of each page, total number of active members listed. The optional is the assigned 4-digit IGRA contestant number. When you send a membership list, we don't really need you to send the full list with all the members' addresses and phone numbers and all that. We need this basic information, and especially alphabetical would certainly help us. I mean, that's the requirement, so please do that. The other thing that has not happened, except for maybe 2 associations, submission. In addition to the requirements for application and renewal, each member and recognized association must send a current membership list to the IGRA office within 15 days prior to the beginning of each rodeo year. Our rodeo year began January 1st. We got membership list from GSGRA just about a week ago maybe, and that's pretty much the one. So go back and send us current list, send to me, send to the IGRA administrative office, Tommy. Today I am sending a document around 2016 Board of Directors. I want all of you, the board, to look at that, verify that your address, phone numbers, email are correct on here. Anything that is not correct, make the change on here and get this back to me today so we can get all this information posted correctly. Some people on this list that I've gotten have work phone numbers listed. I don't really know that we want to list work phone numbers as much as home and cell number. So I'm going to recommend that we just take off work numbers for everybody and just use the home and cell numbers. So please update this and get it back to me if you would. If everything's okay, just mark okay, so I'll know. The other one I'm going to be circulating is for trustees to look at for your association addresses to make sure that and phone number is correct. Any changes, same thing, mark those. If everything is good, say okay and get it back to me. Recently, just about a week ago, we found out one association phone number that was listed has not been in existence for many years. So please update this for us. What I would like to do for this year is, when we get these updated, have in the board secure area the full board list with all of the addresses, all of the contact information, the certification list in the board secure area with all the information, committee chairs, the same. Then for public, we would just list them by name in the respective area and with the email address only, nothing else. But for the board, I think it's important that we have all of that, because oftentimes what I've found before is the rodeo director needs to contact certified officials and they don't have that, but it's not even been really, the board secure area, updated for a while. So we'll work on getting that done. I think that's it.
Are there any questions for Ron regarding his report? I would like to call to your attention that present with us today is the new 2016 Rodeo Rulebook. This was a collaborative effort between Ron, our prior secretary Pierre Cadieux, and of course our Rodeo Rules Chair, Clint Coyle. We're very grateful that they got it out to us so that it's in print for this meeting. All the trustees and alternates who are at the table today have already received a copy. We do have additional copies, so if you would like to receive one today, please see Ron or David, Ron or Tommy, and they will see to it that you receive your copy. Every member of IGRA is entitled to one print copy per year.
And when you get a copy today, we're marking your name off our list so we know that.
Put your name
You
on
got
it.
it. Yeah. May I add to that?
Absolutely.
With the rule book, this would have been out earlier. It was at the printer, but there was one of the workers who does the rule book had a family death, and they were not able to get it out to us till early this week.
Ron, I did send you Mr. Jones' membership list on the 18th, and you responded you got it. Did you not get it?
That was December 18th.
Oh, December 18th, yes. You got it, though.
I got that,
Okay.
but this is within 15 days the rodeo year, which began January 1st.
Okay.
So, yeah, but I have yours for these, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm going to take this moment to acknowledge and ask us all to welcome the new trustee of TGRA, Trey Cuddy.
Sorry I'm late.
It's quite all right, Terry. We know how it goes. I'll move to our treasurer, David Hill, for his report.
The financials for November and December have been uploaded to the website. Please make sure that you have access to the secure area of the website to receive your financials. They are not going to be printed or mailed. There's a lot of detail there. Please review it. Any questions, please ask me. Accounts receivable regarding associations is at 0.
Way to go, everyone.
And that concludes my report.
David, thank you for that. Are there questions of David regarding his report? I'll make a couple of observations. First, when we talk about the board secure area and having access to that, you need to coordinate with Cowboy Frank so that you give him a password and log in order to access that board secure area. And when we speak about the board secure area, to those of you who are chairs of committees, you also have an access to a portion of those documents that we don't make publicly available. So you too need to coordinate with Frank to see to it that you have access to the documents you're supposed to be able to receive. When we talk about the Yahoo group, this is a little bit more complicated. Yahoo does not allow us just to add you because you're new. We have to send you an invitation. You have to pay attention to that email and respond to it in order to activate your membership in the Yahoo group. This is for both members of the board of directors and trustees and the committee chairs. When you get that invitation, pay attention and respond to it. If you don't, you will not have access to the activities and the information that is going on within that group, and there's nothing we can do to add you independently because we noticed you didn't respond. All right? We will move to our trustee chair, Guy Puglisi. He will take care of that on the board of trustees. Administrative assistant Tommy Chow.
Thank you. A couple of things. First, we will address the liability insurance renewal quote that we received. And I'll ask, I believe the quote summary was emailed out this morning. So if you have that to pull up and look at, it will help you. Also, when Frank's finished, he should be able to put that on the
The
screen.
insurance quote that on my drive I gave you. Bring that up.
What was the subject?
The insurance breakdown.
Do you know?
While he's looking for that, I will let you know that on the summary, you will see the 2015 quote compared to the 2016 quote in two formats. We were asked to quote on raising the limit from $3 million to a $5 million aggregate policy. And you will see that from 2015 to 2016, the current $3 million policy remains unchanged with no increase. To raise the limit to $5 million across the board for the entire organization would raise the premium to $20,173. Taxes, commission would raise that appropriately, as you see there. The directors and officers, which is a separate policy, is $866, which remained unchanged from 2015. If you look on down, the point system that we have used for many years is still applied to this premium for disbursement across the associations. And as usual, your rodeo schools produced on your rodeo weekend are assessed no additional premium. So if you look beyond the point system, you will see the disbursement association with rodeo for the $3 million policy, and disbursement based on the $5 million quote. If you choose the current $3 million program and you have a sponsor or venue requiring you to provide $5 million policy, you will see the increase is $2,318, I believe it says there.
That's the total. The increase is $1,158.75.
Right.
May I ask, last year we could have up to 5 events under that premium. Is that still the case?
I'm sorry?
Last year we were able to have 5 events, $5 million events under that premium. Is that still the case?
I remember, if I'm understanding your question, we had 2 events.
We had 2, but we were able to have 5, up to 5 under that premium. If we needed
I
to
don't
want to
recall
have.
that.
Okay, and I may be misspeaking, but that's.
I
my
don't
recollection.
recall that.
Okay, thank you. Go on.
But under the new policy, that we have a per event charge and an overall quote
Okay.
here. The directors and officers did not change. It's 200. These numbers, by the way, are tax included. The directors and officers add-on policy for the association is $225 plus tax, and the $231.75 is tax included for your association.
All right. We have then the bid, which essentially is either the same as last year, or to take the higher limits at this time and increase the premium. We will have needs regardless to go to the 5 million limit, at least for IGRA and at least one of the associations. At some point in the future, no doubt, we're going to be compelled to take on the burden of this increase. But the question is, which shall we do today? Is there a motion?
I would move to maintain the 3 million as last
It has
year.
been moved to maintain the 3 million policy limits, and then Roger, I'm going to ask you to augment that with the distribution under the proposed point system.
Correct, yes.
And is there a second? There is. Is there discussion on the motion to maintain the current limits? Terry. And I see Rob Summers' hand.
Yeah. Question, so right now, the only people that are requesting a $5 million are the IGRA finals and one association, is that correct?
Texas, because this is a requirement of a particular sponsor to have the $5 million limit. We have another sponsor who has so far waived higher limits.
Okay, so I assume there is an option that if for special cases, at least at this point?
Yes, and it's an option that will cost you $1,158.75.
Thank you.
Is that per event, or?
If your rodeo needs the additional $5 million, your rodeo will face an additional premium of $1,158.75.
Okay.
No, it'll be 2318.
Oh, I,
then.
oh, I'm
Correct.
sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for correcting me. All right, sorry about that.
I understand.
This is why I have these two. Okay.
If I may, if you'll note, the $5 million per event cost increased significantly
Double.
from 1158 to 2318.
Any other discussion on the motion? Any other discussion? There appearing none, then the question is, shall we maintain the $3 million policy limits and distribute it according to the proposal? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, the motion passes, and we will have $3 million limits as outlined.
Okay, next,
I have a question. How do you count associations? I'm thinking of GSGRA and Palm Springs and San Francisco. Are they counted as one association, or is that counted as three?
GSGRA is the purchaser of the policy coverage.
Okay. So it's one.
However, each rodeo.
Each rodeo is assessed.
Is
If
assessed
you
the
count,
rodeo charge.
if you count the rodeos,
Okay.
each of those rodeos is assessed the point system.
So if you,
Is that
if
your
you
question?
direct to the board there, Tom, you can see there's a line for associations where there's some points, and then there's a line for rodeos. So it's a kind of a 1-2 punch there.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay? Okay, to enhance that conversation on insurance, those of you who are currently enrolled in the DNO program, I want you to understand that that is an add-on program to the IGRA DNO policy. So I believe we will need a separate motion to purchase the DNO, IGRA DNO.
All right, we'll certainly take one.
Actually, it's included.
No, it's
in the
included on
numbers.
there.
Never mind then, and we've already adopted that proposal there, so.
I believe his motion was to maintain the $3 million line.
Well, I'll tell you
Type of
what.
distribution, he said that's on there.
Was
With the
it-
distribution that was below, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I understood that.
If you feel a motion is
Yes.
required, I'm open-eared, otherwise we'll move on. Okay, go on.
Doesn't matter to me. Okay, so that doesn't matter to me. So I want to pass around this sheet for you. Those of you who have already notified the office here that you will continue your DNO coverage, we need your executive officers to bind that policy for your association. So we want to encourage new participants in this. The fee of $225 plus tax is an incredible opportunity for you to protect the officers of your association. We currently have a participating number, I think, of like 12. I don't have confirmation that that entire group is renewing. We want to encourage you to renew. And where is DSRA? Oh, there they are, right there. Thank you so much. DSRA has already notified us that they will be joining the program. A wise move on your part. And we would encourage associations who are not currently enrolled to please get on board with that. And so I'm going to start this sign-up sheet around for you to list your executive officers so that we can get that in place for you so there's no lapse of coverage, and so that you, if you are joining the program, we can get you signed on immediately.
TGRA is, aren't we?
They are.
Yes. So I was thinking we did like 3 years ago.
So Tommy, I have a question on that. Some associations, the boards are changing, like ours, March 1st. Right now, we had put the current board officers, but March 1st, are you gonna need updated lists? Because we
Yes.
never had to give you names before for executive officers.
You would be correct. I would need to revise the list.
Because the current policy, I think, goes through January 19th only.
That's correct.
Right.
So you would just revise that. When your board changes, we just need a revision.
On the topic of directors and officers insurance, it is going to be my recommendation that we consider a proposal that requires all member associations as part of their membership in IGRA to provide this insurance. It will, of course, be a matter of the associations and their representatives to decide whether that's what we want to enforce as a rule. Currently, it is not a rule. It's a recommendation and encouragement. 2 observations. Number 1, to purchase this policy independently would typically cost in excess of $600 for your association. So the value that you're getting for your $231.75 is great. Number 2, it's a coverage that may be misunderstood or not understood in some respects. This covers the acts of your directors and officers on behalf of the association, so that you as a volunteer have a measure of coverage that you know that you're not suffering personal liability for your decision to participate in the affairs of your association. It also provides a measure of coverage for your association as well, but it's extremely important that you as a volunteer understand that you do have the potential of liability for your actions as a member of a board of directors when acting on behalf of your association.
To further that, there are many misunderstood areas of our general liability policy and the D&O coverage that we currently have. It is fortunate for all of you in this room that tomorrow you have an opportunity to understand all of those misunderstandings. Our representative from Caliph Insurance will be with us tomorrow, conducting a seminar at what time?
Right before lunch.
Read your registration.
There are actually two very, very important classes tomorrow.
That's more than that.
There are only 2 important classes. No. What I was going to complete that, talking about insurance, liabilities, and coverage, and that is with sponsorships and our general liability. We would encourage you to, trustees, rodeo directors, or representatives to occupy those seminars in the morning.
Tommy, have you anything further?
I believe that's all. Thank you very much.
Do we have any questions for our administrative assistant, Tommy Channel?
No.
Tommy, I want to thank you first for your particular leadership year after year in the area of the insurance. It's very valuable to us that you and Caleb got this great relationship that allows us to have this information and this coverage. And second, I want to thank you for all the work you do for IGRA as our administrative assistant. It also is very valuable to us.
It is my pleasure. Thank you.
We have now the report of our corporate auditor. He is not able to be with us, however, he reports that for the period covering November and December 2015, prior report to the IGRA convention for the period ending 10/31, he reviewed November and December 2015 financials. He had full access to the books and records and related reconciliations of IGRA. He reviewed the November-December 2015 bank reconciliations. They reconciled and agreed to the general ledger. He reviewed the income statements and balance sheets for both months, which include a comparison to the prior year. The income on the balance sheets agrees to the income on the income statements, and retained earnings rolled forward appropriately. The income statements look reasonable when compared to the activity of the prior year and the activity observed in the general ledger. He reviewed the general ledger for deposit and cash expense transactions for those 2 months of 2015. There were 88 line item deposits and expenditures. Some deposits and expenditures covered multiple lines of detail. Using a random number generator found at random.org, he ran a random sample covering 10% of deposits and expenditures, rounded up to 9 in the review period. All of the deposits examined tied to the general ledger, as did the expenditures in the sample of 9. Both the deposits and the expenditures appeared to be properly supported, either by receipt of funds found on the bank, receipt or fees found on the bank statement. My apologies again, I didn't write it, so I'm not reading some of the word. He's happy to report to the IGRA Board of Directors that nothing out of the ordinary was noted. He thanks our Treasurer David Hill for his continued meticulous work, and he provides the necessary disclaimer that this is an internal review audit as prescribed by the bylaws and is not, nor is it intended to be, an external independent audit performed in accordance with general accepted accounting standards, and accordingly no opinion is expressed on the IGRA financial statements. To that respect, submitted by Ed Berry, our IGRA corporate auditor.
Any questions regarding the report of the auditor? Tom?
I have a question out of the auditor, but I need to back up on Tommy, because I had my hand up and you were reading.
So sorry.
Do you know, to make it required, what form would you use to do that? Convention?
Convention, that's the
Okay.
only way we can make anything required like
Okay,
that.
got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Any questions with regard to the audit report? Very well. David?
I would recommend that Ed Berry be auditor for the next.
Item of business for this session. I believe that should be then a nomination. And is there any other nomination for corporate auditor? Our bylaws require that all positions be elected by ballot.
And let it be noted, because I know I brought it up at convention, that he did agree to continue.
Yes, thank you, he has finished. Mhm. So, let's distribute a ballot for that, please. My apologies, I remember we had that. Now, you will mark your ballot yes in favor of retaining Ed Berry as our corporate auditor. You will mark your ballot no if you do not wish to retain him as corporate auditor. Yes or no, those are your two choices.
Somebody could go that way.
Yes, thank you. I will ask Tommy and may I ask, thank you, Andrew, to provide work as follows for us.
Make sure it's on my sheet.
I guess you're.
Riveting vote.
We get
The tension is mounting.
If there are any trustees sitting on the perimeter, please identify yourself. Oh, I didn't realize you were with us.
Ed Berry.
Please make sure that the sign-in sheet is completed and returned to the secretary. While the tellers count the ballots, we'll move on. Oh, Liz, did you not get a ballot?
No, I did not.
We need to provide a ballot to Liz.
Liz, can you vote? Can you write?
All right. Have all trustees and alternate trustees and officers of IGRA received a ballot?
Keep it.
Oh,
Very well.
okay. That's fine.
Yeah, and then just thank you. Okay, we will prepare to move into the to the standing committees of IGRA. Before we do so, I want to mention to you that there is one addition to the list that I failed to see to was added to the agenda, and that is contestant liaison. David Lawson will also be offered the opportunity to provide a report to the board a little later today. That is an ad hoc committee, and it falls after health and safety. Okay? You don't have to, you just have a chance to. Starting with our membership committee, please note that I've made a change in how we're going to handle the membership committee this year. In the past several years, it's been our practice to wed that to the office of secretary because he's deeply involved with that renewal process for all the paperwork that has to go through the secretary regarding renewals. However, I've talked with our secretary and with Wade Earp. We'll continue, of course, to have that aspect of the renewal process that will be handled prior to and at convention. But I've asked Wade Earp to be chair of the membership committee throughout the year with an eye toward responding to and facilitating those persons who are contacting us about the possibility of establishing or reestablishing local associations in their territory. We have several inquiries that are coming about as a general rule due to the public relations we've had over the last couple, 3 years. Queens and Cowboys being online is generating a lot of interest for us. So we want to have a way to effectively deal with those things and see what we can do from our perspective to help birth or rebirth member associations. So that's why the membership committee is being handled differently this year. We have no report from Wade at this time. I will mention to you, we have about 3 inquiries from different territories, Oregon, Washington, Utah, and I honestly can't remember the third one off the top of my head. But at least we have people inquiring and asking the process instructor. Some of them have prior history with us. We do have the results of the election, and the election is valid. We now have approved the selection of Ed Berry as our 2016 corporate auditor. I have retained Benjamin Avant as our bylaws chair, and he reports that he has no activity at this time. The bylaws have been updated and posted. Rodeo rules, I've asked Clint Coyle to remain in that position, to which he has agreed, and again, he also has no report at this time. The rules have been revised and posted. Community outreach, fundraising, and royalty. The chairs of that committee are our Miss IGRA, Madison Devereaux, Mason Lyon, our Mr. IGRA, Thomas McCarthy, our Ms. IGRA, Mac Country, Liz McDonald.
That's where you got it.
That's where I got it. And our Miss IGRA, Mary Honeycutt. We are prepared to hear the report of our community outreach.
Well, obviously, we also have done our charities, and we were happy about that. As a group, we chose those because we felt like something, the charities that were smaller, we could make a bigger impact with our money versus something that was large. We voted on those, and as a group, our goal for this year is somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000.
What a wonderful goal. Let's embrace that. Mason, would you be kind enough to stand and ask the other members of your team to stand and introduce them by title, so we're all reminded of who our team is?
Absolutely. I am Mason Lyon, Miss Madison Devereaux, Miss IGRA.
Tom McCarthy, Mr. IGRA 2016.
Mary Honeycutt, Ms. IGRA.
Michael Dog, Yarborough, Mr. IGRA, second runner-up.
David Trash, Miss IGRA, first runner-up.
Terry Covington, Mr. IGRA, first runner-up.
And Ms. Liz McDonald, Mac Country, as Mr. IGRA 2016.
All right. Thank you all for being with us today. Do you have anything further to report to the board at this time? Thank you very much. Mr. Hill, it is time for the budget.
The budget, actual to budget for 2015 was sent out this morning. A lot of detail once again. If you have any questions, please contact me. The budget for 2016, I have had no request for any revisions at this time. So what was passed at convention is still in force. That's my report.
Are there any questions regarding the report of the budget committee, Mr. Hill?
I will report that we have a profit this year of $25.22.
Yay, good job.
But we don't have to pay a lot of taxes on that.
I love it when we're able to operate in the black. Congratulations. We have a report from our Public Relations Chair, Ryan Reed. He reports that he's attached a summary of PR activities since the last board meeting. And highlights of that were a story with regard to Rainbow Times, a newspaper in Boston. He completed a phone interview with him, and the article has not yet been published. Brian Helander fielded a question regarding animal welfare issues from Gina Louise Campitello, marketing manager for University of Arizona Museum of Art, to which he responded and gave them great insight that has proved quite valuable. They let us know that yesterday. And shared our animal welfare statement with her. That is his report. Any questions regarding the report of our PR chair? I will mention to you that I have spoken with Brian, Brian, not Brian. Brian, and with the chairs of our social media committee and those interested in working with us in marketing. I'd like to see those coordinate a little bit more. We can't bring the marketing committee under a PR because they're independent committees, but we want those efforts to be a little bit more coordinated so that they work in concert with one another for our benefit, and they've agreed to do that for us. So watch for a little bit different handling of that over the course of this year. We will move on then. At this time, we have no report for marketing or nominating. Jason has not let me know that we have anything with regard to dance competition at this time. And we will now ask for the report of the finals rodeo committee. Robert Patel, if you will.
Okay. Okay, good morning. So we met this morning, a couple hours prior to this meeting, so we could kind of get things started for the 2016 finals. As I stressed to them, and I stressed to everybody on this board, and some of you are new, this is your rodeo. We're just the committee. We'll do, under your direction, what it is that you would like to see and what the ultimate goal is for you. We are moving forward. I drive a semi, and you move forward by looking in the mirror. We had a successful rodeo last year, very successful. We actually made money and had a profit from that. Bruce talked earlier about the progress of this and moving forward, and where do we go after 2016. Part of the problems and issues that we had with South Point last year, as I stressed to the committee this morning, and the board needs to know, we had through the gate last year, and this includes contestants, it includes volunteers and those, everybody that was there, 2,041 people attended finals. Okay, that's only 22% of the capacity of that facility. We need to increase that this year, at least double. I think that's part of the problem that we had with South Point, perhaps wanting to not continue the contract, because in their financial interest, there are bigger shows out there. I bring that up because this 750 match and everything that's going on with added money and rough stock, those types of things. We have a wonderful person in David Lawson, who's the contestant liaison working with the committee this year. Happy to have him on board. He's going to try helping us. He needs access to the Yahoo group. I don't know who does that or who authorizes that Yahoo group. Okay. Okay, so if we can get him access, we're going to send stuff out to the local member associations and contestants to go to their board of directors and start getting them involved in this. We need people there. It's not just the contestants, it's not just the royalty and the teams. We had a great showing last year in all of that area. We need butts in the seats. We need people to come see it. We met that goal last year, the line item. And we need to exceed that, twofold this year in order for this to be successful. As a committee chair, my goal or my role is not only to oversee what they're doing and kind of keep a little finger here and a little finger there, but let them run their show. But my role now going forward, since we're losing South Point, is where do we go from here? I'm asking the board of directors and those of you here in attendance, I need some bids, not bids, I need opportunities. I don't know what's in your market or what's in your area. Is there a facility that can house us from Phoenix to Tempe to Tucson, something in this general area? Is there a place, I've reached out to Dan Nagel for the new facility there outside of Dallas that they're going to this year. I do have a bid, I do have a contract offer from Denver, from the National Western Stock Show. I'm in the process of reaching out, but I don't know what's in your areas. I'm not asking you to do the legwork. I'm asking you to give me the name and the phone number so I can start doing that type of work for you on behalf of the board of directors. I can Google it all day long and I can call 1,000 places, but if you're there, you know what's available, what might suit our needs. Did you have something?
I'll get you the information for Oklahoma City.
Okay. I know Tulsa had mentioned a while back at last year that they may have a facility. This is what I need. I need that information. We need your help as a committee if we're going to do the job that you're expecting us to do moving forward. Bruce mentioned it may change our whole rodeo gamut and circuit. What if South Point is available in July of every year? Do we consider staying there on an annual basis in July and we change the whole rodeo circuit and program? As a committee, we have to consider these things and bring to you your rodeo and the ideas and suggestions of what we're looking at. So anything's open at this point, but we need a home for 2017 and beyond. These numbers are important, these figures and what we're getting and people showing up so that we can talk to these facilities. I know the Orleans in Vegas, they are interested. It's gone to corporate, so usually that means red flag, it's not going anywhere. But we're still waiting, we're still hoping on that. So right now I'm asking for any information that you may have. Facilities in your area that I can contact, look at, and see what they have to offer. Social networking, advertising and promotion, huge for us. We have to have that this year. And each of you, I'm sure in this room, are probably on Facebook. I'm sure you probably could drop a line about World Gay Rodeo Finals, hope to see you in Vegas this year. We have to promote 2016. We can't look to 2017 because we have this one to do. Which anniversary is it this year?
30th.
30th annual. We need to pump this like crazy and get people there. We need the newbies, those coming along, to understand the struggles that a lot of us went through 30 years ago when all of this started, or 25 years ago while we were in the middle of it all. Today's generation has no idea what those struggles were about and how we can go into a facility like South Point today and put on something like this. These are the information that we need out there. People understanding what this is all about, and it will only be good for the branding and the name of IGRA as we move forward with that. There are some things that come out of committee. I'll turn portion of this over to Laura. We need some approvals on judges, officials, so for so on the logo. I think, Frank, you have that for the 30th anniversary for the screen.
Yeah, the committee is recommending, we've worked on our logo, new logo for the 30th anniversary. This does not replace the bull. We are still going to move forward with the bull because it was so incredibly successful this past year, as Tommy could share all that information with you. This is the logo that we did come up with after going back and forth with the powers that be that know all the trademarking and registered trademark and all that other stuff. We finally got it right, I believe. So this is what we are recommending to you for our official WGRF logo.
Let's handle this item first. You have the recommendation of the WGRF Committee and the Directors that we authorize the use of this logo for the 30th anniversary. Is there any discussion on that recommendation? No discussion? Then all in favor of granting approval to the request, to the recommendation, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The approval is granted.
Before you go forward on that, Frank, you leave it there for a minute. When you guys are emailing and Facebooking and all of those things, this registered trademark R, we would love to see that on everything that you have and everything that you send out there. If you're doing it from your laptop, if you will do Alt 0174, it'll take you right to that and automatically put it on. Hit your Alt key 0174. If you go into all your icons on your mobile devices, scroll across there, go way to the right, there is that registered trademark on there.
Even when you're on Facebook and you're just typing in World Gay Rodeo Finals, please put that R there.
Get in a
It's
habit of
extremely
every
important.
time putting that registered trademark there. Okay?
The second item that we have is our sponsorship guide.
Okay, before we go into that, first question that I have is there any deviation from what you already provided us?
Yes.
There is
Okay,
one thing that
all
we
right.
are.
That's
yeah.
okay, I just want to know so you can flag that for us. So we did already provide this to you in an email a week ago, but go on with your reporting, please.
The biggest differences we made, obviously, is we added the logo to every page, the new logo to every page. Did some alignment issues, changed dates. I did change a couple things in the levels. This past year, we did not have a presenting sponsorship level, although we did have 2 presenting sponsors. So we added a presenting sponsor, and then we upped the level of the title sponsorship. For those of you who don't know the difference between a title and a presenting, a title sponsorship, if you're familiar with the NFR, it's actually called Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. Wrangler pays a lot of money to have that distinction. So if somebody wants to give us $25,000, we'll put their name at the beginning of World Gay Rodeo Finals as well. The thing that did change on here since you've seen that was the
Buckle
buckles.
price?
Last year, across the board, our buckles were $300 for both event and all-arounds and the other buckles that we had. This year, we are raising the price. We are gonna go from $300 to $350 to the event buckles.
Okay, now which is it? We're going from 300 to 350.
From 300 to
From what
350.
what you received
Okay.
will now reflect 350.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
then the all-arounds will go from 300 to 500.
Thank you.
And the wild drag buckle, that our trademark event will be $1,000
For the set.
for the set.
Thank
For all
you.
3, yeah, there's $150 savings on that.
Got it. Smooth lift.
And the back page did change as well. LVCBA wanted the boots.
LVCBA wanted the boots instead of the.
The hats, correct.
Right, now, that's, I believe in that sponsorship kit that you received, it still does show that if you sponsor the full event, it is a discounted price, so
All right.
that's
So-
staying.
So
Do you have any more to present on the sponsorship? Okay. Stay on this page, please, Frank.
Frank, stay on that.
Stay,
So
no, go
this
back,
page?
yeah, stay on that page. What the board is considering is the granting of approval for the sponsorship levels as outlined with regard to presenting sponsor and all those things, boots, shoots, or not boots, shoots and buckles and whatnot like that. That is what we're asked to approve here today. You know, the images and the text are not our concern as long as they're accurate and that sort of thing. We have the recommendation of the committee that we approve the sponsorship package as amended and shown on the board there. Is there any question on the recommendation? Any questions at all, any discussion? There being none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor?
Sorry, question. Just on there, it's there's an IGRA logo over the top of
It's
them.
not actually there, it's
This one?
Yeah, I just want to know what the number is behind that.
That's
Frank,
500.
can you move that?
No.
I believe it's 500.
Okay.
That's the one that, Laura, that I said came out on mine too, and.
See, but it's not online.
Well,
That's strange.
let's
It
address the
won't be there.
question, what's the number behind it?
I believe it's 500.
Well, what item is it? So
The DJ audio and lighting, I believe it's 500.
500, okay, all right.
It's that money.
Rob, 500.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the recommendation?
Is that the one you want?
Absolutely.
There being no further discussion, all in favor of granting approval for the recommended sponsorship levels, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, the motion passes.
We have one last.
Laura, actually, I'm going to ask you to stop there for a moment.
Okay.
Last year, we also granted approval to the marketing team of IGRF and WGRF to deviate within 10% from these higher level things as necessary, and also to create a mix of cash and in-kind, and we should consider extending that authority again. Does everyone understand what we did last year? We granted permission to deviate within 10% and also to create a balance of in-kind versus cash contributions. And I would ask that we have a motion to grant that authority to the WGRF marketing team again. Thank you, David. Is there a second?
Dang it.
Sure.
Dang it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? There being no discussion, all in favor of the motion to extend authority to the marketing team to deviate within 10% and to have a combination of cash and in-kind contributions, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The motion passes. The authority is given.
The last item that we have is our recommendation for the officials. And I was told that we can bring this to this body.
And what I will ask of you right now is, we're going to hold that portion of your report until right before we break for lunch, because that'll be handled by the board
Okay.
in executive session, since it does deal with approval of different individual personnel.
Executive.
So do you have anything further for your report?
You're done on that part?
Yeah.
Yeah, the only other thing I have under the report, or a question for the board of directors, I'm not certain where that ended up, Compete Magazine.
But we, at convention, we gave authority for that. We haven't got an implementation plan yet. We have to have that before we engage in the actual.
And who is the committee working with on that?
I'm working with individuals to try to take responsibility for it, but
Okay.
we don't have it ironed out yet.
All right,
to get-
2,000 from WGRF, is that correct?
That I don't know. Whatever was in this proposed budget has been approved.
Same as last year is what we proposed, but I didn't know how that settled in the board of directors.
It was approved by the convention, so whatever was in the proposed budgets was what was approved.
Okay. And the last thing that I have for the board of directors and trustees that are here, this is, like I said, your rodeo. If you have input of any kind, thoughts, ideas, suggestions, recommendations, I love this, I hate this, whatever, please do not hesitate to let me know. Let Laura know. We'll pass it on to the rest of the rodeo directors in the program, because ultimately we want your rodeo to be what you envision it to be. Okay?
Very quickly, if I may.
Yes, and I do see a question there. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, you might consider having a pin made of that logo. It's very pretty, and sell them for $10 each.
Okay.
Definitely take that into consideration. I don't know if everybody knows who the entire director's team is, but I would, first, I want to introduce them. Lisa Smith is our first assistant. Say hello. And I was very thrilled that although they could not make it this weekend, they did conference in this weekend, Robin Cagle and David J. Smith from Palm Springs. So thank you to both of them. and of course, our committee chair, Robert.
And also a member of the WHRF committee,
The
David
committee, yes,
Lawson.
David Lawson.
And with that being said, surely you all know, I mean, Judy Munson chose not to continue on the program. We are looking for additional directors, something the board of directors usually feels and brings.
Executive board.
Their executive board to us. Okay?
Okay. Robert and Laura, thank you for your efforts in leading the charge for this rodeo and for rodeos to come. I've already expressed my confidence and appreciation to your team. You're going to do us a great rodeo this year. I know that. We've got some goals we want to reach, and I'm confident that working together we can accomplish some great things this year. So thank you.
I can say, even though we don't have contracts yet, we've already got money. LVCVA, in fact, Jim McMichael from Las Vegas Convention Visitors Authority is going to be here this weekend teaching a class, if anybody would like to see him. And he's invited everybody, well, he's not paying, I'm sure, but he's invited everybody to go to dinner tomorrow night. They have guaranteed that they're going to back us up again. Tito's Vodka wants to come on board again, and Finley Cadillac Honda wants to come on board again. So if, even at just what they did last year, that's already $21,000. But I'm gonna ask for more. Because I'm
And we'll take up the rest of your business at about 11:45 or 10 till 12.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. And we have no report for the Women of Gay Rodeo, the renamed committee for what formerly was Women's Outreach. The IGRA University, I have invited Andrew Goodman to remain as our chancellor throughout this year and into next year. Andrew, thank you for taking the date. And, before Andrew begins, I want to mention, if you need to go to the bathroom, I would rather us work through until lunchtime and then take a longer break for lunch. And if you need to go, just excuse yourself. But if you all are ready to revolt, let me know and I'll call a recess. Great, Andy.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. I will cover a lot of information at the instructor and new student orientations this afternoon. Right now for university, we have 24 participants, or 24 students, which is double last year. It's not?
No.
Well, okay. It's not double last year, but regardless, 11 of those are new students that have never been to university before. So I think that's a pretty significant accomplishment for everyone who has recommended that their members attend this weekend. I want to thank the scholarship sponsors. They're all listed on the website. The Gay Lesbian Rodeo Heritage Foundation, Casa de Bego, and Las Vegas Vacation Rental. FGRA, Scotty Shaddix, and Chris Keene, and Under the Influence. The information that David sent earlier shows 9 scholarships. We're only going to give away 8 this weekend because the 9th one that was income was from a raffle that we did at convention. So Terry Covington will be participating this weekend on a scholarship that TGRA won, I believe. The schedule for today is the same as what's posted on the website. Tomorrow, the schedule is all there with, we're gonna make just a couple of changes in theater, but everything else is a go. It is not too late to sign up. We'd be happy to take your money. I think you can still register through LaunchTrack online if you wanted to take care of that right now. But we'd be happy to take your money. We will not, because the only place conducive to having a morning break tomorrow was in the same room as breakfast at 10:30 and so close to lunch, we've decided that since everyone gets a free breakfast who's staying at the hotel, that we will save the money of having the morning break 45 minutes before lunch. And so get your fuel, your coffee, your pop, whatever you need in the morning, because I don't think there'll be any available. There'll be water stations in every classroom. Sunday schedule is open to all people, instructors and students who have registered. And the field trip, you can sign up for that online too, to the University of Arizona Art Museum. I'd like to thank the Gay and Lesbian Rodeo Heritage Foundation for sponsoring that event, and SGRA for their help in putting this together, and this hotel, and Lisa, and Patrick, and Jeffrey Neal, and especially to John Hill, who
Every time I'm close to the edge, he probably wants to push me, but he lets me dangle over the edge for a little bit, and then he pulls me back in. So I appreciate his help very much this weekend, and if you have any questions, just ask him. 'Cause Thank you.
Are there any questions with regard to Andrew's report for university for this year? Andrew, I know you have some information you want to share with us with regard to 2017.
Now is a great time.
Now is a great time.
Because I have to sure things I need to take care of. So, due to lack of any other bids for University 2017, I have solicited a bid from the Alexis Park in Las Vegas. And Frank has a PowerPoint there, and I'll go through it very quickly. We have two options next year if the board continues university. We have two options. The first one is, if you'll go ahead to it's at the Alexis Park. I'll get to the dates in a second. It's an all-suite resort, bungalow style. It's across from the Hard Rock Cafe. It's within stumbling distance to the Fruit Loop, where a lot of the gay bars are. And it's been the host hotel for Bighorn Rodeo for 2 years. And we have had other IGRA events there in years past. So go ahead. There is a complimentary airport shuttle, or you can take a cab, Uber, Lyft, any of those things. It's maybe a $10 cab ride, but they have a complimentary airport shuttle, which is rare in Las Vegas, especially if you're staying on the Strip. This is not quite on the Strip, but it's walkable. Go ahead. We have two choices for dates. The room rate and the meeting space is the same. This weekend in Las Vegas, as is every year, is the Sin City Shootout, which is a big sporting tournament, a gay sporting, softball, darts, bowling, a little bit of everything. Homos everywhere. So that same event is happening next year in Las Vegas. And if we choose to have it the weekend after, that is the Adult Video Awards in Las Vegas, which is a pretty big thing for some of you, I'm sure. So you might want to consider that. We're not locked into either date, but I know that if the board chooses to approve this or make a decision today, I know that the Sin City Shootout will be coming back to the hotels in the area that are that close to the gay bar really soon, because their event is this weekend. So we're about a week ahead of the rush, I think. Go ahead, Frank. The rate is $99. You can get, they're all suites, of course, and they go up from there. You can upgrade if you choose, which is, it's less than this year, but it is a non-gaming hotel, which for some people is great, and for other people it's just like a Frogger game across the street to Hard Rock. But you can gamble in the airport, in a gas station, a grocery store, anywhere you want. So that's an option if that's something that interests you about Las Vegas. And I don't know if there's anything else or not. Is there one more slide?
Good. Several more.
Oh, okay. Wi-Fi is complimentary. There are no resort fees. If you stay on the Strip, a lot of times you pay $30 a day to pay for internet and gym access and pool access that most people never use. So there is no resort fee, which will save you probably close to $30 a month. There's conference space available. Because of the size of our group, we do not, in a hotel's point of view, because of the size of this event, it does not necessarily justify free meeting space, but we can work with that and some fundraising and things like that to make that happen, so that, you know, if we don't make a little bit of money, at least it's a wash or an even kind of thing. Revenue neutral, thank you. And that is it, in a nutshell.
I believe I saw a hand, or were you just stretching? Michael?
If, I know several years ago we had a convention in New Orleans, and a lot of associations had an enormous number of people that came along with them just to party in New Orleans. If we had enough, you know, friends and family, so to speak, going to Vegas for university, what would it take number-wise to get the space for free?
I asked that question, and I got a pretty cranky response. And it wasn't just because I felt that we were entitled to anything free. I asked the question, what is the magic number? You know, is it 500 participants? Is it 1,000 participants? And I didn't get an answer. I got a, well, it doesn't matter, but I don't know. We can talk later if you want to know what happened, but it's all good.
We should have talked booze, and then they might have negotiated.
Yes, the thing is, one thing that I did not mention is that our room block for this year is 150, and we picked up just over half of that. So we've cut it. The last I knew, we had about 78 nights this year. So we, in Las Vegas, thinking in January, people might be interested in coming to party and participate in other things. So we've chopped the room block down to 100 nights, which is more realistic, yeah. So we did incur a little bit of meeting space expense this weekend because of the low pickup on rooms. So I don't know what the magic number is.
Okay. So you've heard the proposal from Andrew with regard to Las Vegas and the possibility of 2 different dates. Andrew, do you have a recommendation from the committee, or is that just from you from Las Vegas?
Committee. Nevada has approved it. The board approved to present this bid today, and IGRA will support IGRA being held in Las Vegas in 2017.
So you have
and the committee will too.
You have a recommendation from the IGRA committee that the board schedule an IGRA University in Las Vegas on either of those 2 dates next year under the proposal that you've seen. Since it's an either or, we have to decide, not only do we want to do it, but then we have to decide which of them we want to do. So do you have a specific date that you're recommending, or you're just leaving it up to us?
The first weekend is Monday holiday in the United States, so if that doesn't matter to some people, and to other people it does. We don't really need necessarily a travel day if we wrap on Sunday by late afternoon. Okay. But it doesn't make me any difference.
Okay. Got it.
Just for clarification, was there any other association that was prepared to present another bid?
You've heard the question. Anybody have an answer to that?
I think I heard the answer too.
What was the answer?
I didn't hear anything.
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
I love going to Las Vegas, but I think this is an opportunity for IGRA as a whole to support smaller associations or new associations or associations that are looking to do something for their membership. And I'm not convinced that we really sought out those opportunities across the country. Again, I'm not speaking against going to Las Vegas. I think things are a little lopsided, and I think it'll come back to bite us if we continue down that path. Again, I think this is something that is operationalized in a hotel somewhere, almost anywhere. It's just a hotel and rooms. So I think it's something to consider.
Yes, John.
Just to speak to Brian's point, we have reached out to a couple of other associations. For one reason or another, those associations were not at the time able to come forward with proposals. We're absolutely open to that, and that is absolutely something that I think we can do. If the board sees value in it, we could even potentially look at markets where we don't have a presence, but we would need that direction from the board to actively pursue that.
Gene.
I think what Brian actually is trying to say is that it's an IGRA function and not an association function. And so the association bringing a proposal shouldn't be necessary. We should think about going to places that would benefit either associations or the growth of IGRA into that location, like you said, John.
I'm going to speak to this point just briefly, and that is we have a clear direction in our bylaws with regard to how we select a convention. We do not have a clear direction with regard to this event. It's been our practice in the past to ask for associations to bid on it and then the board to give approval and that sort of a thing. But we're not required or locked into that. So we do have flexibility in that regard to make the decision that we think is best for IGRA rather than wait for somebody to invite us to come.
Now, we did put out the word and request those invitations, and they were not forthcoming except from Las Vegas, but we do have that flexibility. The key question before us today is, do we want to make a decision for 2017 today and have that information before we leave this university this weekend, or do we want to explore some different options and give it some additional consideration either through the executive board at one of its meetings in February, March, or at our next scheduled full board of directors meeting? That's kind of the avenue we've got to decide between the two. And David, I see your hand up, but I'm going to go to Lisa first.
Since part of my job is to look at the good of all of IGRA, I think we ought to explore into other avenues, other places to, because of the travel, basically. You're not getting any, you won't probably get any of the east side folks to come again because of the travel. I still think we need to look at something centrally located in the United States somewhere.
Thank you. David Lawson?
I'd just like to remind everybody that generally speaking, when you're on Travelocity or anywhere else, flying to Vegas is way cheaper than flying to a lot of other places.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Thank you, David. Ron Summers?
Just a question. I know we've approached other associations for bids, I guess, but to your point where we have flexibility in this case, maybe we could explore other options and change our tact and say, instead of soliciting a bid, asking that we would like to partner with a smaller association. We will take the lead in this one still, but we'd like to get your support in whatever regard that may be. So, just an idea.
Guy?
I'd kind of like to bring to the table that we really should be bidding these things 2 years out, and we've gotten away from that practice. And so to obey this and hold off on making a decision for 2017, I don't think is a great idea. I definitely support getting other associations who aren't as active or holding rodeos or whatever in their regions to get more involved in sponsor or bid to host either convention or IGRA University. But we're in the same position for university and convention. Hopefully we'll get out of that today. I heard there's some developments there, but I think we need to act for 2017 as soon as we can and start getting those bids in for 18 instead of chasing our tail every year.
Thank you, Guy. Before I ask for someone else, I'm going to recognize that Daryl Sexton has joined us from LSGRA. Daryl, welcome. And Brian, I believe I saw your hand.
Well, thank you, Gene, for clarifying my comments. They're actually two separate points, and I think they're valid ones. This is not a bid process. It's us proactively saying, all right, where's the best place for us to operationalize IGRA University? It might be, for example, it might be at one of the, if the membership committee says that, hey, there's a association in Wyoming that's trying to form, and they've got interest in IGRA, and we say, hey, let's go to have university in Laramie.
In the way?
We go, and we tell them, hey, we're coming to town. And
Have you been in Laramie in January?
I
have.
We've been in Toronto. We did 3 years in St. Louis. So. But I think my point, the point I'm trying to make is that this is a proactive decision made by the board of directors of IGRA, and there's a lot of good that can come from this. Just coming to SGRA has helped us solidify our membership. It's got our membership jazzed for the first time, like we're really doing something, and it's been important to us, SGRA. So I'm not speaking against Vegas or NGRA. I'm speaking for some small association somewhere that is waiting for gay rodeo to show up on their doorstep.
Thank you, Brian. Any other discussion? Okay. Here's the deal. We have a recommendation from the committee to schedule IGRA University 2017 in Las Vegas on one of those 2 dates. That's the recommendation before us. If it passes, we'll select one of those dates. If it fails, then we will send back to the committee some direction to work a different plan with us. You understand what's before you. All in favor of the proposal from the committee to approve a IGRA University in Las Vegas in January of 2017, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
I will ask you to vote by show of hands. All in favor of the proposal, raise your hand. You may lower your hands. Those opposed to the proposal, raise your hand. The nays have it. The proposal is not agreed to. The recommendation is not agreed to. We will send it back to the committee. Do we wish to give them any direction? I believe you've heard the discussion. Is that
All the
direction enough?
discussion has been a conversation we have had in the last several weeks.
Brian?
Is there any recommendation from the membership committee? You mentioned earlier that there were several places that were interested in gay rodeo in the country that were struggling to build an organization.
Well, you know, we can certainly ask them if they have any insight about that as a way of development. And certainly we know that, for instance, Keystone is a new and developing organization. We could ask to look to them. I've seen a lot of head shaking from Florida, Georgia on this topic. They may be interested, even though they just recently hosted a convention. But I mean, if we strategically look or ask to partner with, as you've said, we may find some options here. Gene, I believe you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, in lines of what I commented earlier, I would recommend though that if we look at a place that already has a presence of IGRA, of course, having them help determine that there's a venue for that would be absolutely appropriate. I would recommend that we not go to them and ask them to present a bid. And I'm gonna use an example because if you came to North Star to do that, it's very likely you would get someone who would have no clue how to do that or what's involved, and therefore then just say no. I personally don't have the time to do it, and we don't have the people to do it that would have any clue what to do for you. So I would recommend that, for example, again, using North Star, if you chose to look up there, you could ask someone for venue names, kind of like Finals is doing, but do the research yourself because you would know what's needed and they won't.
All right, Gene, thank you. And I think the takeaway there is that we should drive the bid process and not burden an association with that. Any other comment? I'm going to bring something to you before we move on. All right, so we've had some discussion. The committee has heard it. It coincides with some of what they've already looked at. The question I ask you is, are we going to ask the full board to handle this at our next meeting in, is it April, May, or in Palm Springs, or are we going to push this to the executive committee to work with committee on making a selection whenever they're able to make reporting to the executive committee? Guy?
I think time is of the essence, so I move that the executive board be tasked with finalizing a location for University next year.
You've heard the motion that the executive board be tasked with finding a location for next year. Is there any second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on the motion to pass it to the executive board? There being no discussion, all in favor of that motion to pass it to the executive board, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The executive board will handle that for us. Thank you. And anything further for the IGRA University Committee, or anything that we have a question or anything like that?
I do not believe so.
All right, and we'll work a little bit to see how they implement that. It is 11:43. I'm going to ask those who are not members or alternates for the Board of Trustees meeting to excuse themselves so the board can handle an executive session matter, after which we will break for lunch. Before you go, lunch is available in the hotel. If you go out of the hotel and take a right, there are a number of fast food and sit-down restaurants just up at the stoplight to either the left or the right. There's chicken, there's Mexican, there's sushi, there's fast food. There's all sorts of options there. I'm going to ask that we plan to be back in our seats by 11:15 to continue with the Board of Directors meeting, and it will return to an open session. Sorry, 1:15. live in the past, sorry.
Better be really fast.
All right, so if you all will take a few moments and exit, we'll continue.
Is this the executive?
No, it's an executive session, the board of directors. The board of directors remains, but it's an executive session.
We can stay.
Thanks. You gotta get that executive in the right spot.
I would verify.
Yes.
Are we on this one, because it's a personnel issue, can we do this offline, or?
We'll take it offline. Okay.
Hey, Rob,
So you're already
do you know
offline?
who Cold Cordon?
It's not in the sensitive nature that we talk to.
Cold Cordon from Montana. Yes. He was at Findings. Yes. Spent a lot of time with him. They want to get really, I don't know if they have an